Thank you very much, Jean. I've been having a few technical problems. I'm hoping that volume is okay and you can hear me okay. So thank you. Wow, it's just such a wonderful moment actually to have you all together. So I just wanted to start by saying a massive thank you to you all for joining the herd. I mean, we're just going to have such an amazing time, and it feels to me like we've been on a bit of a journey with it, but it's starting to get really exciting, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy that too. So the Big Trunk Trail, as you know, is an amazing art trail that we're going to run through the summer. You're all going to be an amazing part of that. I was talking to my chair of trustees, as you have chairs of your boards this week, and he said, you did pick your moment, didn't you, Liz? You know, in the middle of a pandemic, and certainly we did pick our moment. But actually, as I've thought about it, I really do believe that this is a great time to be doing this trail, because come the summer, when we've got something amazing and exciting out on the streets of Luton, everybody's going to be delighted to join in, to feel upbeat, to see something bright and a spectacle, I think. So maybe in a funny way, although the pandemic has been challenging, maybe the moment is the right moment for us. This year is our 30th anniversary. We've been caring for patients across Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire, Milton Keynes for 30 years, and we're really proud of that. We hope to be here caring for patients for another 30 years, and the Big Trunk Trail is a big part of us doing that. But for me, the trail enables us to give a present to the town, and both companies and individuals, groups have supported us with fundraising over the 30 years. So it's going to be lovely to do something really, really great in the town this year on our 30th birthday. As many of you will have seen, we've been delighted to have Nadia from Bake Off involved in the trail. And if any of you have been into the hospice, you will know that cake features very big in the hospice. Everywhere you go, there's cake, even when there's not many people in the building. So it's going to be a celebratory year. I'm so delighted you're joining the party, and I'll make sure you will get a bit of cake at some point along the journey. So thanks very much.
Promise of cake, what more could you ask? It's now over to my colleague Ruth McAllister.
Jean, just to check, should it be Love Luton or?
Oh yeah, I skipped one. My fault. I was busy letting more people into from the waiting room. Sorry about that. Yes, Lindsay. Sorry.
That's okay.
You can slap me when you see me next.
I will. So good morning, everybody. Great to see so many of you, and obviously so many of our Love Luton partners who have got an elephant, and hopefully now have got a piece of art to go on that elephant as well. So Love Luton decided to team up with Keach and be the presenting partner for the trail for a number of reasons. Obviously, through the years, Love Luton has supported Keach in many different ways at various different events. But in last year was our 10th year. And when we started Love Luton 10 years ago, for a specific reason, we never probably thought that we'd still be going, and actually probably stronger than we were 10 years ago. So Love Luton has a real place in giving back to the town. And like Liz says, this is really something that will be brilliant for everybody. It's free, it's outside, you can do all of it, you can do one elephant. So I think it will, I agree with Liz that, you know, this summer, having somewhere to go and something brilliant to see will be great for people of Luton, but also to encourage visitors to the town as well, to help bring the economy back to life. So part of Love Luton's aim for the 10 years, we discussed as partners that we really wanted sort of a bit of a legacy, and we spoke about various different art trails, and then this Wilding Art Trail came up, so we thought it was a good thing to partner up. So we're delighted that we've been able to support the trail, but also delighted that we've been able to give all our partners an elephant, so that they, you know, their commitment to Love Luton has meant that they're already part of the trail, which is brilliant. So they're already on board. And that's been really good in getting the number of elephants sort of into pieces of art. So I think most of our partners are on this morning. So good morning, nice to see you. I haven't seen you for a bit, but hopefully over the next few months we can see you more often, and at some point in person, which would be wonderful. And we can stop these blooming calls. So I'll hand over to Ruth. Obviously on the Love Luton side, if there are any questions, as always, me and Sinead are here. So please ask if you've got anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you. So I'm just going to share my screen. Just a second. Okay. Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Ruth McAllister. I'm the Marketing Director of Wilden Art. I think the exciting thing about today is that it represents a real milestone for the project, and it's great to see so many of you on the call. And on behalf of Wilden Art, I just really wanted to say thank you for supporting the project as sponsors. Just to give you a little bit of a background to Wilden Art. So Wilden Arts was set up in, I think, 2007. We've worked on many different events across the UK and across the world, you know, connecting businesses up with artists, and also working on learning programmes to really create something very, very special in towns and cities. And we are really proud of the fact that, you know, since then we've enabled over £15 million to be raised for charity partners. It's certainly obviously clear to everybody that we've been operating in really challenging times over sort of like the last year, and it's been a very difficult time for sort of businesses and cultural venues and the high street. However, I think, you know, now to be looking forward towards the spring and the summer, and it is, you know, we're in a really good position to sort of be revealing our spring and summer events, and obviously working with the Big Trunk Trail in Luton. We have been over the last year sort of reviewing how we work and sort of how we put our trails on. And the great thing about them is, you know, they can be enjoyed, you know, predominantly outside. They can be enjoyed within, you know, social distancing restrictions. And we did manage to deliver sort of 3 trails at the end of last year, which I think was really encouraging to see that people were still keen to be out and about, exploring towns and cities, looking at sculptures, and really spending time outdoors. We also commissioned some sentiment research as well amongst our previous trail visitors. And the results really have sort of like underpinned what we sort of hoped, in that, you know, there is a huge pent up demand for people for getting out and about. And just a couple of sort of top level results there, which just sort of show, you know, 88% of people said they wanted to take a day trip in 2021. 79% said they're likely or very likely to visit a trail, and 55% said they were would be happy to sort of travel at least 30 miles to visit a trail. So I think it's really encouraging, certainly for you know, the art trails that we've got coming up this year. And I think also, you know, the last quote on this slide really sums it up quite nicely, in that, you know, the Big Trunk Trail will be a celebration of creativity, a celebration of Luton. It is something that will help to bring people back into the city centre. You know, it gives people a reason to be outside, and also, you know, supports people's well-being in terms of spending time outside, spending time with friends and family. I also just wanted to include a few sort of top level stats just about our sort of visitor profile, really. Just something for you to think about as we move through the workshop, in that typically, you know, the visiting groups are made up of friends and family, and indeed 50% of groups that visit trails will include children. Having said that, there is certainly over recent years, there's been a significant sort of increase in the number of people who are visiting trails on their own. And I think it's really something quite interesting. It's something that people can do alone. There's a great camaraderie amongst visitors, in that, you know, people will speak to strangers and point people to the next sculpture. And it really is something that's accessible to everybody. From previous research, we found that, you know, 1 in 4 will visit all of the sculptures, and there's certainly a sense of people wanting to collect the sculptures and see everything. On average, around 42% of visitors will spend 6 plus days visiting the trail to see everything. And out of the people that say they only visit the sculptures for a day, they'll spend at least 4 hours completing the trail and looking round. So I think, yeah, we have been living in really challenging times, but I think the potential for the Big Trunk Trail is huge, and it's certainly there to be leveraged through your activations and through your marketing activity to give you, a really good return on investment for your sponsorship, and also to be part of something really exciting for Luton. So I'm going to now hand over, I think, to Christine. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah, Christine, do you want to share your slides?
I want to give everybody a little heads up. Zoom's just sent me a message. We might get disconnected momentarily. If we do, just re-click the same link and we'll all be back together again as we are now.
Okay.
It may not happen, but it's just a heads up if it does.
Right, hopefully everybody can see my slides.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. So morning everybody, I'm Christine. I head up the Marcoms team at Keach. Hope you're all okay. So yeah, just wanted to take you through our plans really for marketing the Big Trunk Trail. Our plans, but also some key dates and some key actions just to make you aware of too. I thought I'd actually start by introducing the team just so that you know who's sort of here to support you really and who's marketing the trail. So we've obviously got the marketing communications team, which is myself, a marketing and PR officer, and we also have a graphic designer who's created all the lovely graphics for this trail, which hopefully you really like. We've obviously got the fundraising team, so Nikki, Matt, Lynn, but we've got some really good creative and digital people within that team as well, so they'll be part of marketing the trail. We've obviously got the Wild in Art team, who you all met today. And then we've also instructed an external agency to help us really drive the PR and the digital aspect, because obviously we want everybody to know about the Big Trunk Trail. And then lastly, we've got your good selves as well, because between us all, we're going to do a fantastic job and raise awareness and drive footfall. Okay, so in terms of our plan, it's multi-channel essentially. So I'm going to take you through all of the external marketing that we're planning, but I suppose for me, I just wanted to flag, we've obviously got some really good internal channels to help us spread the word. So we've obviously got our staff, we've got volunteers, and we've got about 1,500 volunteers. And then we've also got all of our patients and their families as well. So I know that they will all really, really help us promote the trail and raise the awareness. Okay, so in terms of social media, obviously we've got accounts across Keach, the Big Trunk Trail, and also Wild in Arts, and we will continue pushing the trail. The frequency will obviously up the nearer that we get to the trail, but we're regularly posting across all those accounts every week. One thing that I just wanted to really raise awareness of now is obviously the artists have started their work and they're starting to share. And the schools are doing an amazing job sharing what they're up to as well. So they will definitely help us really push the trail across social. The other thing that we're working on is obviously tapping into influencers. So key influencers on social for Beds, Hearts and Milton Keynes as well. And just trying to get them on board and get them to help us spread the word as well. Okay, in terms of press, obviously we've got the sort of traditional side of the press in terms of releases. We obviously did a launch release and we did a release for Nadia as well, but the plan now with the help of the agency is to get 2 releases out a month. The 2 that we're working on at the moment is one about a memory of elephants, because as Liz mentioned, it's our 30th anniversary this year. So actually we thought it'd be really nice to get a release out about a memory of elephants, but also what's your memory of Keach Hospice Care? And I thought that's, have some really good traction on that one. The other piece we're working on is artists. So we're hoping to obviously promote a couple of the well-known artists and why they've got involved and what the trail means, etc. So they're the 2 that we're working on at the moment, but we are aiming for 2 every month going forwards. We've got really strong relationships with the Luton News and Dunstable Gazette, and also 3 Counties and ITV Anglia and BBC Look East. But obviously, if you've got strong relationships with any other press, please let me know, because obviously every little helps. The other thing that we're working on is some stunts, so just some different creative things that will hopefully get us some coverage as well. So obviously the elephants, many of them are being painted at the mall. So when, fingers crossed, the shops reopen on the 12th, obviously everybody will be able to go and have a bit of a peep and see what's going on. And then our two elephants that you can see at the bottom there, Unity and Peanut, they're going to be enjoying May half term at Whipsnade Zoo. So everybody going there in May half term will see them. And then we've also got our own Colour Dash in June in Luton. So they're just 3 examples of stunts that we're definitely doing, but obviously we're working on as many as we can really. But if you'd like Unity and Peanut to come and visit you, and obviously share that on social and with your staff, etc., just let Matt know and we can get that organised. On the digital side of things, we've obviously got our Keach website and also a Big Trunk Trail website as well. Both of those we can promote things on the homepage and also in the news section. And then from the 1st of April, we're going to have an online toolkit on the Big Trunk Trail website. So you'll be able to log in and access logos and colorways and graphics and key messages, basically anything and everything that you're going to need to promote the trail and your involvement going forwards. The other thing we do also is regularly send email newsletters, both from Keach and also from the Big Trunk Trail as well. So that's another sort of non-social digital opportunity. And then we also have our app, but I'm not going to tell you anything about that because I'll leave that for AI Solve to tell you because it's all very exciting. In terms of traditional media, we just want to make sure that yes, social will be key and so will press, but actually let's back it up with some traditional media so that really anywhere anybody goes, whether they're around town or on social, they'll see something about the Big Trunk Trail. So we're planning some advertising on buses and estate agent boards, and obviously we've got our shops, so we can get posters and flyers in our shops too, and then we'll get into all the local magazines as well. And then when we're able, fingers crossed, touching wood, everything, we obviously will do some in-person marketing as well, because I think that's really key. So I think community groups will be really key going forwards, but also getting out to supermarkets with, Unity on the back of a truck, and also flyering in key hotspots. So if there are any key events happening in Luton before the trail, we need to be seen there. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got our Colour Dash in June as well. So I think, well, we've definitely got 1,000 people signed up for that, probably more, to be honest with you. So that would be a really good one to just talk to people in person about the trail. Okay, some key dates for you. Obviously, the artists are at work now, as we all know. And then, as Liz mentioned, we're celebrating 30 years of care. Our actual anniversary is on the 3rd of April, but we are going to obviously be talking about that throughout this year, but just so that you're aware of the official date, if you like. As I mentioned, hopefully from the 12th, people are going to be able to see the artists and the elephants in the mall and just have a peep and see what's going on. By mid-April, we'd like to get any ideas from you in terms of sort of offer-led reasons to visit your elephant. It might not be something you want to do, but we just thought, actually, what other reasons can we give people to visit the trail? We've obviously got the trail, it's free, it's outdoors, we've got lots of reasons to visit, but actually, I know on other trails, there have been other reasons, like things like 2-for-1 coffees, or money off a family meal, or money off a play area, for example. So just have a think and think if there's anything else that you'd like to create in terms of another reason to visit your elephant. The end of April is the deadline for your plaque copy. And then the first week of May, we'll have Nadia's photo call with her elephant. So that will give us a really good way of getting back out into the press again. The elephants are all having their portraits taken, week commencing the 10th of May. Which will be amazing, and then we'll have all the official portraits for all of the point of sale going forwards. Themed weeks, so that there again are other reasons for people to visit the trail as well, and we're just working on those at the moment. Then we've got a couple of farewell events. We've got one at Whipsnade in October half term, then we've got one in Luton in the first week of November, and then we head to the auction on the 11th. It's not letting me move slides now. Sorry, last one. Okay, last slide from me. Just some sort of key actions for now, really. Obviously, start sharing on social and tag and at us in so that we can share. We look at obviously the Keach and the Big Trunk Trail accounts regularly every day. So obviously we can just look out and see what you're up to and share that with the wider public. Don't forget the hashtags as well. Get your staff engaged, and if there's anything you need from us to do that, obviously let us know. Ask friends, family, suppliers, anybody really to help share so we can raise as much awareness as possible. Your logos and a bit of blurb about your businesses are on the Big Trunk Trail website, and I just thought I'd put that action in there just for you to triple check that you're happy with what's on there, and if not, obviously let us know. Let Matt know if you'd like Unity and Peanut to visit, because we've got quite a few weeks there where we can organise that, so just let us know. As I said, 1st of April, the online toolkit's available, and then just have a think by the middle of April whether you'd like to create any other reasons to visit your elephant. And then the end of April is the deadline for the plaque copy to be with Matt. And just the last one there is really just let us know if you've got any big plans, if you're celebrating anything, if you've got an anniversary, if you're doing some kind of stunt, you know, just let us know and we can help you share that with the wider public as well. So that's the last one for me, and I just wanted to say thank you, keep in touch. They're the 2 main email addresses, so if there's anything you need, anything you want to ask, just give us a shout. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. And thank you, everybody, for clicking back on. And we didn't lose anyone, which is a good sign. So I'm going to hand over to the AI Solve gang now. And they're going to tell us all about the app that they've specially designed and created for the Trunk Trail. So over to you guys, and girls, I think. We've got several. You have been enabled to share your screens.
Perfect. I'm just doing that now. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yeah.
Hi all. I thought it was just for me that I logged off and I couldn't come back in, but
we all had it.
Everyone had the same. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Firstly, I'm really pleased to be here with everyone, and I think this is quite an exciting initiative. Again, I couldn't be more excited about how we're looking to bring digital into these initiatives, because today's world is no longer just about physical spaces. It's actually physical and virtual. We're just having to absorb that, and we've all accelerated, I guess, probably a decade now in terms of digital absorption. So we all know what now AR is, what AR can do for mobile. I'm sure a lot of you have played around with some kind of AR in the past. So this is where, when we started talking about the Wild in Art opportunity and the Big Trunk Trail for this season, we understood that there's a phenomenal opportunity for all of us to not just sponsor a good cause, but also have fun. And that's the whole point. So we wanted to, the younger not just the younger generation today, each one of us actually do like to have fun, not just physically, but virtually as well. I'm getting used to that now. So what we tried to do here was bring in an addition to what we're all familiar to traditional mobile apps. I guess not just having a web presence, but having the mobile app itself was something Keach understood to be of value to the company, but also to all its volunteers, to its sponsors, and the caregivers itself. So what we try and do here was actually bring in AR functionality. And what the functionality does is, I'm not going to talk about all the app features because they're all fairly standard, typical for any good charity to have. And it's all about how quickly but seamlessly the app can connect with its audience. So it has all of those features that they, again, don't want to spoil the fun, because when the app is out, you'll see all of the final features that's going to be in there and what the features do. But today I want to just kind of talk a little bit about the campaign opportunities itself. So it couldn't be a better timing for this app to launch in, because the first campaign that we're targeting is the Big Trunk Trail itself. And what this does is, with the AR functionality, you would be able to actually use the Quiche app to bring all the print and digital marketing materials and any even a physical materials into life, into virtual life, and actually interact with them. So we're trying to blend that physical space to the virtual space and be able to tell much bigger stories through that engagement. And that's really what is important, because when we've all chosen these elephants to sponsor and the designs, I'm sure each one of us had our own reasons to connect with these beautiful designs and artworks. So what we want to do here is actually allow a provision of digital provision that will give you the opportunity to, perhaps through sponsorship or through any other methods, give that additional story of why you chose those designs, and why is that particular art piece far more closer to you? What is the story behind? So you're not just limited to, yes, you could do all of those traditional interactions. So for instance, the app AR functionality will allow you to point to any print or digital or non-print materials. You'd be able to get some interactions from those materials, which are specific to those artworks and the art presentations, and give your story. So what we're doing here is, so not just be able to interact with those little mini stories that's been sponsored for you, but actually you will be able to also do a geolocation based treasure hunt and a trail. So you're actually being led by the app, and you're able to discover different different hidden expressions through these trails. So we want to make this whole trail not just what you've experienced today, but actually give it a bit more fun to it. And there is plenty of opportunity for you to kind of engage through more sponsored brand promotion for your specific brands, if you want to give that additional story to your audience. So not just that, we've taken this one step forward. At the moment, the AR functionality would also offer its audience things like we have what's called the AR coloring book. So this is another opportunity, whether it's now or in, coming closer to the actual times, where you could have specific artworks that's more closer to you, to be able to be in print as an activity for the kids that could actually be done through this particular AR functionality. So there's a message you could convey to your audience and the families, where you'll be able to bring in these characters into physical spaces, give additional stories, and yeah, just keep it fun for the kids and the families. It's something that the families should be able to do together. So these are just some work in progress demonstrations. We don't want to kind of show the whole final piece and spoil the fun, because we want to keep that a nice surprise for you all. But what I do like to show is I'll give a little teaser of all the other Ads Reality is our AR brand that's connected with powering all of these works. There are some works we have produced in the past for other customers such as Heathrow. So you can see how brands are able to engage through these AR app features. So it's not just about going and getting that additional information about that particular artwork. It's also taking that one step forward. And now I'm very pleased to say that Quiche can do that, and you can do all of this through the Quiche app. And that's what gets it very exciting for us. And we want it to be with the Quiche app. And when people think about Quiche, it's about care, it's about helping them, but also in return, Quiche is helping us, because it's able to give you that kind of a family fun through digital. And that's really where we want to get to. And we're very happy that Wild in Art gives us the opportunity to be able to kickstart that whole engagement with the audience there. So yes, this is your opportunity to use that app as much as you want. Talk to Keish team, talk to the marketing team to see how else you can take your brand and sponsor this little mini fun AR triggers. So yeah, we can together make a massive difference to this whole trail there. That's everything really. Just gonna leave that. It's all fun to watch, but that's everything from us for today. So yeah.
Wow, Debbie, that's going to be great.
Yes, we hope so too.
Yeah, and you're bringing in it. If as the years go by, you know, we've been doing apps for our trails for quite a few years, and each year, you know, new things come in, and this is going to be the most AI'd one yet.
Yes, we're very excited, and thanks to you all for putting the trust in digital. Digital will make a massive difference when we all come together. The stories are personal to you. We can't create your stories. We need you guys to come tell us what stories you want to communicate, and your creative teams versus the game teams then can create those little mini fun engagements. So yes, it's open for all the brands to make this even bigger for the big trunk trail there.
Yep. You know, we are certainly in a multi-channel world now. You know, as lockdown has taught us,
Yeah.
if you're not multi-channel, you're not going to survive.
No, and I'm glad that we took this step very early in. I mean, when these discussions kicked off, this was pre-COVID, and I said to Liz, well, you are the visionaries there. So yes, really pleased that we will be able to launch this app along with the AR feature right in time for the Wild in Art, and we're open for more engagements to campaigns to run there. Yeah.
Super duper. So the next slot in our busy session this morning, you're going to need that coffee when we finish. Matt's going to talk to us about the Creative Learning Programme. Matt, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. As Jean said, I'm going to talk about the Creative Learning Programme. You might see, if you've looked at the agenda, it's actually down for Steve Alban. He's our schools programme coordinator. Some of you may have had communications with him.
Ruth, you've got a couple of pictures from that.
Yeah, just some holding images. But as I say, I'm the project officer on the trail, so I've got an overarching understanding of all things elephant at present. I'll be reading in for Steve. We'll circulate his email address later on. So if you do have any specific questions with regards to the learning programme and communicating with or engaging with schools in the programme, then yeah, you'll have his address. But anything, direct it to me. So obviously, hopefully you all have a wider understanding of the trail, but I'm just going to give you a bit of information with regards to the learning programme. You should be aware that we have 32 of the large sculptures that will be out on the trail, obviously, that you have so far hopefully selected your designs for. But underpinning that, there's a huge piece of work, and we have 36 of the smaller, I know Wild Nart refer them as medium elephants, but there's 36 smaller elephants that have been adopted by schools as part of that programme. The programme is sponsored and supported by University of Bedfordshire, and the community element is sponsored and supported by London Luton Airport Limited. So we're incredibly grateful for the support they've given us so far in getting this huge piece of work off the ground. So just to give you a bit of a background, is slightly different to the large elephant program, in that each school has, as you can see on the screen, has been delivered their own elephant. So each of those schools has to create, submit and design their own artwork for that sculpture, and they are then responsible for decorating that with their students. So it's a really, really, we believe probably now more than ever, a fun, exciting project for the young people to engage with and get behind. So when the trail goes live, these sculptures will be slightly different in that they are going to be housed in across Luton's key spaces, but they will be hosted predominantly indoors. So we imagine across a number of the cultural spaces and indoor spaces that Luton has to offer. Each of those will feature a plaque, obviously similar to the large ones, but will feature some information about the sculpture itself. The program is supported by, which I'll circulate the link for that if anyone's particularly interested, but the program is supported by it's a 75-page long document which has a world of cross-curricular learning resources for the schools to engage with. There's lots of fundraising ideas, and it really is an incredibly engaging piece of work that's taken some time to get through. So they're all adopting, a lot of that, and there's some really great elements in that. So it's we're really proud of that piece of work. So each of the schools, as we say, create, design and paint their own elephants. They have been asked to commit to a minimum of £1,000 fundraising. So obviously their commitment to the trail is entirely through, their financial commitment is entirely through fundraising. And then at the end of the trail, these sculptures are then returned to the schools as a lasting legacy to the school. So these do not go into the auction, they return to the schools get to keep them. So they get a real kind of, the full program, and they get a real kind of engagement in the project. And we've seen, as you can see from the images, that the schools and the buzz on social media, the schools are so incredibly engaged in that already at this early stage, even before I think there's another slide, I should say, even before they've started putting pen to paper. But these are just a couple of the kind of designs that that the schools have come up with, which yeah, as I say, we believe it's just the learning outcomes are going to be so vast for some of these young people. So just to give you a bit of a breakdown, as I said, we've got 31 educational groups. They're a mixture of nursery, primary, secondary schools, college and university. There's a number of sculptures gone into community groups. They are broken down. There are 19 in Luton, 2 in Dunstable, and we've got surrounding area and villages, Leighton Buzzard, Caddington, Houghton Regis, Slip End, and so on. So as I said, all of these have been delivered into schools, and the real aim for us is that, as Ruth said, that 50% of the visitors to the trail involve children. So we really envisage when things reopen, and this trail is a really exciting thing for families and young people particularly to get behind, and it's quite miraculous. When we took our large sculpture Unity out, we did some promotional shots around the town, which hopefully you've all seen, and we were up at London Luton Airport, and a group of young children what seemed to actually think it was real. So it's just seeing that, and that was going back almost 6 months ago. So seeing the look on their faces and envision how people will engage with this when the trail actually go live is pretty incredible. So yeah, alongside that, there's a number of events being tied in. We've got a Join the Stomp fundraising event. So it's really, as I say, just about kind of engaging with the young people, the schools. We're, obviously trying to connect and entwine wherever we can. We've got a great piece of work going on with the University of Bedfordshire called the Safari Summer School, which is I believe the 9th to the 19th of August, and that's supported by Luton Borough Council and the Level Trust. So there are some really fantastic things going on there. So but if you do have any questions, please, as I said, I'll circulate the links. We've got an issue link for the learning pack if anyone is interested in seeing that. And if you do have any questions or you'd like to engage with these education and community groups, then please do let us know.
Great, thank you, Matt. So Ruth will share screen again. One of the great things about involving the schools and community groups is that every child has a family. It's not just mum and dad, it's grandma, granddad, aunties, uncles, cousins. And we do get large extended family community groups doing the trail together. And an anecdote from Birmingham when we did the big hoot there was that an academic did some research and declared the trail the greatest or the largest health intervention the city had ever seen, because people were out walking in the fresh air with their families. So that magic is coming to Luton. Over to you, Ruth, for the first few slides.
Okay, thanks, Jean. So we're going to talk a little bit about sort of activating your sponsorship and really just sharing some ideas that hopefully will get you thinking of some of the things that you might be able to do to support the Big Trunk Trail. From a marketing perspective, this project is a gift, and it really is true to say that the more thought that you put into your activations, the better experience you will have as a sponsor. And it really does give you an opportunity to, you know, talk to audiences in a different way, and often completely outside the parameters of your normal brand guidelines. You know, it's a fun project. It's a unique project, really, in a way that it brings together, as I say, businesses, artists, schools, the general public, the city, into that sort of shared experience. And it does give you a great opportunity to be collaborative, really, with other sponsors and businesses who you may not normally have any involvement with, with your artists. And we'll talk a little bit about the artists in a little while. But, it could give you also, really sort of creative opportunities to support your sort of objectives as a business, but also your sort of sponsorship objectives. And it is a great way to show your support for, Keach as well. So Christine talked a little bit about sort of like the key milestone dates. And I think I just wanted to sort of reiterate that, in that just have a think about those milestones. And it's not just, obviously, the trail, when the trail goes live, it is, weeks and weeks of people being able to enjoy the sculptures, but try and think about the whole experience, because there are opportunities that you can think about with your sculpture before the trail goes live. I mean, we do try to have some element of a reveal when the trail goes live. So we would say things like, perhaps just share elements of your sculpture taking shape, but there's great opportunity for sort of teaser activity. Don't forget to announce your sponsorship and tell your staff, your clients, that you're involved with the project. You will all be at a stage now where you've either chosen or you're choosing your elephant's design. So there's things that you can tease out around that. And then also at the end of the project, don't forget about the farewell weekend. Your sculpture will be there, and also the auction. So it's really thinking about the whole experience, and try to, I guess, one of the biggest pieces of advice, I think, is try to make activating your sponsorship responsibility within your business, because it's so easy. Time flies, and particularly when you've got the day job as well. But if you can make a plan, involve your staff, don't restrict what you do, try to be creative. You will have a lot of ideas. Will come through, and it doesn't need to be complicated. I think the most important thing is just pick maybe 2 or 3 things that you can do well, and that are cost effective for you as a business, and deliver against your objectives, and you will have a lot of fun with it. And just enjoy the experience, because it does have the potential to really bring joy and generate real positivity in the summer. I just wanted to share some examples really from previous trails where sponsors have included their sculptures in their marketing activity. And I know Christine mentioned that you have got the sculpture, the sponsor toolkit on the website. You will be getting access to that, I think, from the 1st of April. But there are the brand assets to use in your marketing collateral. The sculptures will be being photographed. So, you know, if you've got a poster campaign going out or a magazine or newsletters, you know, those assets are available to be used to help to, you know, support your sponsorship, but also to push the messages about the project further through your network. So, you know, do remember to shout about your sponsorship on your website, in your, you know, in your customer newsletters, in your staff newsletters. There is also an elephant template, so you know you're welcome to use that. That'll be in the assets pack that you have access to. You know, and just really make sure that, you know, if you're a customer facing business and you've got a shop window, you could maybe do a window display, or you know, you've got your reception to shout about your involvement as well. So think about your sort of easy networks that you've got access to. And then I think, Jean, the next slide is over to you to talk a little bit about some more other areas of engagement that you can use to support your sponsorship.
This is Jenny decorating Unity in Luton in the mall. And you can see the logo behind her with the airplane of the airport. Your artists are part of the team. Through Matt, you can arrange to meet your artist in the painting space if they're painting in the painting space, but he will definitely connect you, if he hasn't already, to your artist so that you can develop a relationship with them. Most of them have really good social media followings, and will already be tweeting and sharing on Instagram and so on. So capitalize on that, share that. Also, the artists, you know, what inspired their design? Talk to them, develop a relationship. Many of our sponsors wind up getting those artists to do other pieces of related work, to take the same design and turn it into something else for them. An example I always remember is on the Isle of Man, a hotel was a sponsor. They loved in their case, it was a wallaby that had been designed for them. They loved the artwork, and they commissioned that artist to do a mural in the foyer of one of their new hotels. So that, you know, was great for that artist's career, and it was great for that sponsor, who then bought their sculpture and put it in their foyer in front of the mural. So it's another relationship and another channel for you. Next slide, please. And as my colleagues have been saying, you have at least 4 or 5 different categories of stakeholders. This blurry photograph is a group of accountants in Lincoln. When we did a trail there, the Knights Trail, they got it in their heads and they got themselves sponsored for the relevant charity to cycle from London to Lincoln on the same routes the Knights would have traveled to the Battle of Lincoln. And they raised quite a few £1,000s for the charity, had a great time, arrived on launch day when the sculptures were on the street for the first time, and stood about in their sweaty lycra getting their photographs taken. Now, that's an out-of-the-box idea. And there are plenty of other things, and I'm sure your imaginations, which we're hoping to ignite this morning, can come up with some wacky ideas. Next slide, please. You know, setting staff challenges to go out and do wacky things on the streets during the trail. These guys were obviously the Bee Trail in Manchester. Fundraising bake-offs. You know, remember, this is fundamentally, this is a big fundraising project for the charity. So any activity you can do that can link back to fundraising is an added bonus. Decorate your office, have a Zoom background that's an image of your elephant. Engage with your different communities. You know, anything, it's quizzes. Next slide, please. If you can see places in other locations have taken the idea and run with it. And the more you run with it, the more you get out of this project. It's a win-win. As Debbie was saying, the more interactive you make things, the better. You can make some of these activations integrated with the AI. You know, it's wonderful to have a sponsor like AISolve involved with the project to really ignite the digital sphere. Every sculpture has several stories to tell. Its sponsor, its artist, the design, the location, you know, etc. So, you know, go wild. That's what we do. Next slide, please. Now we know we've got Nadia, and that's absolutely wonderful. And the Keach team and all of you will no doubt milk that opportunity for all it's worth. But there are others. Everybody knows somebody. You know, that we're all 6 people removed from each other. So think about who you might know, who you could get a photograph next to your elephant with, who could, you know, give you a nice quote to put on social media. You know, it could be a local NHS hero. It can be a member of your staff who's gone above and beyond to support your colleagues during this time. You know, take advantage. I think it's over to you, Ruth, next.
Okay. Yeah, so when the sculptures appear on the streets, you know, it really is true to say that the trail really then belongs to the people. And so you'll find that there's a huge amount of user-generated content out there, you know, across all of the social media channels. And indeed, you know, I think social media is our biggest, certainly our biggest communications channel. So, you know, do make sure that you are following other sponsors, artists, Wilder and you know, the Big Trunk Trail. And I think if everyone's in agreement, you know, we can collect and, you know, circulate a list of, you know, Twitter handles, if that helps to, you know, to get you sort of collaborating and sharing on social media. But, you know, as a minimum, do make sure that you sort of join the conversation and like and share content. You know, you can create a Twitter ID for your sculpture. And indeed, you know, just on the images, the owls in the image there, they were particularly noisy owls that sort of tweeted it to each other throughout the whole duration of the trail, really. But it worked really well because it just added some fun to the you know, to the event. It enabled the sponsors to sort of talk to other sponsors, you know, in a different way. So do think about your social media presence and how you might want to manage that for your business. And then also have a think about sort of content and the digital assets that might be sort of easily available to you as well, because, you know, once the sculptures are out on the streets, you can go down there and you know, take some really nice pictures of it on location that you can use on social media. You might be able to do a little 360-degree video around the sculpture to share. You know, could maybe do a little interview with your MD or your staff with the sculpture. So do think about sort of, you know, what digital content you might be able to get, you know, to support the real world experience. And then don't forget.
Sorry, Ruth, heads up, we've had that message from Zoom again. We're having a bad Zoom morning. We may get cut off again. Please come back if it happens. We do want to hear from you. Please come back if we get cut off again. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. I'll just keep going. So yeah, I mean, sculptures are very, very photogenic, so they completely lend themselves to you know, to selfies. So you maybe could do a selfie competition with, you know, asking people to photograph themselves with your sculpture, posting them on social media with a unique hashtag to you, and then you can maybe go through and pick, I don't know, it could be weekly winners, it could be one winner across the trail, you know, for the best image, the most quirky image. You could encourage people to go out and dress up, or, you know, maybe there's an elephant mask perhaps that could be creative for people to wear on the selfies, or something like that. I mean, we do also get a lot of dog walkers that go around the trail and will pose with every single sculpture, so there might be something around that element that you can do. So again, just have a think about how you can sort of engage with that content, encourage selfies, and bring that into your plans really for social media. This example, this is just another example from the Be in the City event in Manchester that we did, and Rayburn Trading are like a wholesale business. They didn't really have they were not customer facing at all, and they didn't really have a presence in the city, but they did really want to engage with local people and with the other stakeholders on the trail. So they did a lot of activity around Super Bee, their sculpture, and I think everything that they did on social media was you know, hashtag Super Bee Manchester. But they ran you know, selfie competition throughout the trail, and I think they must have got a job lot of curly whirlies somewhere, but the selfie competition, people could win a year's worth of curly whirlies as part of that. But they also did, you know, staff colouring competitions, and they did talk to you know, other sponsors on all of the social media channels and everything, and they had a really successful return from their involvement in the project. So just really to show you a few images and a few ideas from that project. I think one last thing just to talk about, and we mentioned it a little bit already, you know, do think about how you can perhaps use the trail you know, to engage with your staff or your clients. This sponsor selfie challenge example was obviously something that we've done on previous trails, where you know, businesses have brought teams together to you know, get sponsored and go around and see how many sculptures they can find within, for example, maybe a 2-hour period, and they could maybe pay a fee up front to take part, which is, you know, like a donation to the charity partner. And just to say, obviously, you know, we don't know how things are going to be in the summer.
Sorry, not the agenda. The invite was till 9:30, so I think you've got people here.
Okay, well, just quickly, what I was going to say is I guess don't be put off if, you know, restrictions are still in place, because it could be something that you could still do and engage with your staff. And, you know, you can obviously enjoy the trail within social distancing restrictions. You could perhaps challenge your staff to visit all of the sculptures with the families within their family bubble, take selfies, and perhaps have a, you know, an internal leaderboard in your business, encouraging people to visit all of the sculptures, and perhaps have, you know, have some prizes for the best picture, the first person to go around the trail, all of those types of things. And the other thing, you know, everyone's been restricted and restricted with Zoom calls. You know, you could perhaps use your involvement in the sculpture trail to maybe, you know, maybe do some face-to-face walking meetings with, you know, top couple of clients or staff members, just as a way to sort of start to bring back some of that sort of social face-to-face element back into your, you know, your business activities in a safe way, really, in a safe and socially distanced way. So just a few ideas there to hopefully whet your appetite and start those creative juices flowing. And over to you, Jean.
Apologies again that we are running over slightly. Just other ideas, if any of you have access to development site hoarding, it's great if we can brand those up with the Trunk Trail. Wrapping buses and vans has happened before. We've had a train done for us as well once. And right down at the other level, again, having volunteer groups who knitting and natter groups who knit elephants that we can then sell during the trail for the charity. And finger puppets are popular. And, you know, you can create all sorts of projects. I would love to see an elephant built out of recycled materials. There is one somewhere built out of tires. Something they're doing on one of the other trails I'm working on is they're going to have costumed storytellers offering timed tours of the trail. You know, that's an added optional extra, and they'll be inviting donations to the relevant charity from the people going on those walks. Next slide, please. And please, gather data, don't forget to measure. All of you are investors in this project, and we want to make sure that there is significant return on that investment. So we will be measuring as much as we can. So please measure any activity that you do in any way that you can, and then share that data with Keach so that it can go into the big impact pot. So please, we would be very grateful for any impact data that you can share. Next slide. So you are the trail makers. Thank you. And I would like to unmute you all and give you a chance to speak, those of you who've been able to stay with us for this extra period. You can unmute yourselves to, just seeing, trying to unmute you collectively. I think I have to mute you all to unmute you all. Okay, you have to unmute yourself, apparently. It doesn't let me unmute all of you at the same time. Anybody who wants to speak, just unmute yourself and speak up. We would love to hear some of the ideas that you've already got or planning, or ideas that we've sparked with you this morning. If you have to dash, absolutely accept that, but it would be great to hear some of your ideas. And anything else that you might want from us, things that you might want us to make sure go in that kit that you're going to have access to. So your go. Speak up if you have anything to ask, say, or offer.
Can I just add something?
Debbie, yes.
Okay, please. This was really, really great session, and thanks to you for putting all this together and the ideas over. If it helps everyone, because I see this like quite a Kickstarter session. If it helps, we could organize kind of a follow-up with all of the digital side of ideas, along with some visuals or videos, just to kind of trigger thoughts for the different brands and what the possible engagements they can do, whether it's web or mobile or AR. If that helps, we could put a quick session together, or if not, if the diaries don't coordinate, then happy to kind of put that like a simple presentation, and through the Keach team, we can run it through them and then get that across to everyone if that helps to inspire a bit more. Yeah.
Nikki, I'll let you respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds great, Debbie. We've had great fun working with you on the app so far. It's been a learning thing for me as a fundraiser. App development is not something I knew. However, it's been an incredible journey. Everybody on their sculpture that has sponsored a sculpture will have the opportunity to have some link through to your website. So there will be a lot on there that we will be doing for everybody. We recognise as a hospice, obviously, we want to provide as much patient care as we possibly can. So for us, it's about how can we get that fundraising going. But it's incredibly important for us to raise as much awareness as we can as well. So we recognise that that's what you guys all need for your businesses, especially this year and in the situation we will find ourselves in. I think a lot of us will be learning a lot of new digital things, and Debbie and her team have been great in guiding us and making suggestions and things that we can do very cheaply, but also things that will cost a lot of money if you want to go down that route. So there's lots of options, and I think a lot of you would find it fascinating to see what you can do different digitally, and we're very keen to help any of you do that with the support of AI Solve, because it will all be feeding through the Keach app, so it drives traffic our way as well. So we're really keen to make that happen, and I think what will be lovely is that once we've got the Wild in Art, the Big Trunk Trail part of the activity bottomed out, you know, we're still designing it up at the moment, so we're adding different things to it all the time. So any feedback from you guys about actually could we, you know, pop that in, and could we add that in, and that sort of side of things has been fantastic. I think the thing that's made a big difference for us is the fact that people understand QR codes and how they work and how they can scan them and it takes you through to something. And I don't think everybody was using those as much as they were before the pandemic. So it's tiny little things like that that digitally can make a huge difference. So I think it would be great if we either organise a session or, as Debbie says, we provide some feedback, but we'd be delighted to help and support with that. And I think that the chat's already shown that a few of you would be interested in that side of things, which would be great.
I suggest a little of both, frankly, just if you create something to pop in that toolkit and set up a session or 3. Anybody else got anything they'd like to ask, request, or offer? A lot of you don't have your cameras on. Matt?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, as the project officer, I'd just like to thank the key partners for their involvement. So we've got Love Luton as our project presenting partner, AI Solve as our digital partner, London Luton Airport Limited, our community partner, the Mall Luton, our artistic programme partner, the University of Bedfordshire, the learning programme partner, and we're delighted to say we've now got Luton Bid as our trail progress partner. The artists, as we said earlier, the artists are in space now, so if anyone wants to engage with their artists, they're not all painting in Luton, some are as far-fetched as Scotland. So if you would like to meet your artists or connect with your artists, I can circulate their social media details, or just contact me directly if you'd like to meet with them. There's a whole bunch of opportunities available there, as Christine said. And also with regard to the schools and community programme. Just one thing, the next kind of date for your diary, which I'm reluctant to give, but we're aiming at the end of June. As we all know, any dates you seem to put in the diary, Boris will change those. So it will be around the end of June, pending. That we're going to host a VIP preview evening, so that's all the sponsors will be invited to see the sculptures in all their glory together in one space before they go live and are installed on the trail. So we'd really like you. We'll circulate a date for that once it's a bit more clear that we can commit to that. And as Christine said, you know, you're the trail makers and we need you. So thank you for your support.
It's a really nice thing to end on, Matt. Unless anybody else has got anything else, I'm going to apologise again for our technical glitches. Thank you all for supporting the project and for turning up this morning, and for what I know and hope that you're going to do in the months to come for the Big Trunk Trail. Thank you. Have a great day and a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.